Hi, Dave from Ryan Hills Physiotherapy. So we were talking about, or we've been having a look at nerves over the past few days. So today I thought I would discuss about sort of one or two of the ways that nerves can cause pain and how you can get sort of symptoms of nerve pain, either coming down your arm or going down your leg, sort of like a sciatica type presentation. So when you've got your peripheral nerve, which are the ones you can actually feel if you go down onto your elbow, come off the bony lump there, your olecranon, and then your condyle, you'll feel a little groove in there, and if you ping back and forwards on that, that is your ulnar nerve. And if you press hard enough, sometimes you might just get a little bit of pins and needles, you might get a few little zings, you might even start to feel some symptoms in your finger. And that's just a mechanical pressure that you're putting on that nerve. So these peripheral nerves, if we look at the ulnar nerve again, finishes at the tip of your pinky, comes all the way underneath your arm, runs up the back of your arm, and then goes into your neck. And up in your neck here, what you tend to find that the nerve, as it comes into the spine, is there's a thickening of the nerve, and that thickening of the nerve is called your dorsal root ganglion, and that's quite important because that's quite a sensitive area of the nerve, and it's possibly the area that we tend to injure the most. So when you come out your dorsal root ganglion, and then that would lead into your spinal cord goes up to your brain. Coming back to the dorsal root ganglion, it goes into the nerve. Now, the nerves, as we looked at the other day, like 50% of the nerve is like a ligament type of tissue, and it will contain blood vessels. So it means it's quite a strong structure. And then the rest of it, which is the dynamic part of the nerve, and probably the business part that we're really interested in, those are your neurons or your axons. And they're the ones that transmit the electrical impulses up and down. And you have sensory nerves, so for touch, feel, and you have motor nerves, which help us to move, or for like sweating, even for hair growth, and then you have mixed nerves, which are a bit of both. Now, how the nerves work is that on this body of the nerve, you find these little voltage gate channels, little doorways. These doorways are open, it allows ions to go in and ions to come out, and that creates an electrical charge, and it bounces down there, and that's how you get your result. That's how you feel, that's how you start to move. Now, up at the top, the dorsal root ganglion, this is where we tend to injure it. And it can be that people, if you've got the vertebrae either side, get a little bit narrow, you can get it a little bit pinched, a little bit squashed, just so you suddenly sort of throw your head back, say like in a car accident, or you bump your head off the ocean floor. Or if in younger people, if you get more like an acute disc bulge, then that can suddenly sort of press onto it and create like an inflammatory situation. Now, when that happens and that sensitizes that area up there, that thickening, what it does is it sends messages down the neurons for them to start creating more doorways. So we get an increase in these sort of channels where the ions can come in and out. Some of the ones that were dormant, which weren't open, they'll open up. So we get this massive increase in flooding of chemicals coming in and out. And that's how the nerve gets sensitized and creates pain. Now, some of these doorways are sensitive to different things. So you might find that some of these doorways are more sensitive to inflammation. So if there's a lot of inflammation coming up through here, what the dorsal root ganglion will do is it will cleverly start increasing the number of doorways that then sort of become open to inflammatory chemicals. So in that's sort of an acidic environment. Adrenaline can be another thing that can open up to. So when we're stressed and anxious, which will often happen just at the start of an acute injury, we'll have more doorways that are a bit more sort of susceptible to that. That'll start opening them up. So if there's an increase of adrenaline in the blood system, more doorways open, nerve becomes more sensitized. And then there's other doorways that are a bit more sort of sensitive to whether there's a compression, so like a squashing sensation, or even like a stretching sensation. So depending on what's going on, or what doorways are really open, or what extra doorways are being made, that will influence what the nerve is getting sensitized to. So some people are more sensitive to like a stretchy situation, some people are more sort of sensitive to a compressive situation. You often find that people, if they get they're a bit worried about it, a bit anxious about their symptoms, then that'll aggravate it and that'll magnify the sensitivity of the nerve as well. So it's really just identifying what the triggers are. Now, the good thing about this is these doorways, once they're open, is they can actually, if we can find a way just to settle things down and to find like either sometimes it's positions of say your neck or your back, which takes the pain away and eases the pain off, that'll start to shut off some of these little doorways again. Good information about it, not worrying, not stressing out about it because there's nothing serious going on, that'll decrease some of the doorways as well. And the other thing that these nerves really like, I tend to find, is oxygen and blood flow. The nervous system takes up about 2% of your body mass, and it needs about 20% of the oxygen that you take in. So it's a greedy little fella. But if we can get more oxygen to that area and get movement going into it, then what we can create is a far, far healthier system for that nerve and really help to that nerve to settle down and not cause you as much pain. So top tips really for sort of nerve pain if you're suffering from that. I think number one, I'd always get it assessed, because it's a good idea to have somebody else have a look at you to work out what makes it worse and what makes it better, because then that can sort of influence how we go and treat you from there. Positive mood, try not to get too worried or too anxious about it. That can help sort of shut down a lot of these sort of doorways as well. Try to find positions where you're happier in. So you might find if you've got neck pain, you don't like being up here, you're an awful lot happier with your head flexed or even just turned to the side, and that can reduce those sort of nerve symptoms in your arm. Tend to find like people that do have nerve pain in their arm, they tend to come in and they'll say, yeah, I like to have my hand up on my shoulder, or I can even put my hand on top of my head and that'll take the pain off. So really in your initial phase, it's just trying to dampen it down. I hope that's of use to you. If you get any problems with the nerve pain, please feel free to give us a call and we'll have a chat and we'll sort of get you on the right path. Anyway, hope that you enjoyed that. Bye-bye.